Hello everyone, I hope everyone's doing well. And hopefully you are back in the school and enjoying your time with your fellow students. This week we're going to be continuing on and talking about Jesus beginning his ministry. In our picture for today, we're actually starting off with Jesus actually speaking in the synagogue and starting his ministry. Our story is actually, this is week 8, so we're actually begin talking about our verses actually are coming. Our story comes from Mark 1:29 through 39. So with the story, let me start here. On the Sabbath, Jesus went to the synagogue and began to teach. The people were amazed by what they saw and heard. There was something different about this man. News about Jesus spread throughout Galilee. After leaving the synagogue, Jesus, James, and John went home with Simon and Andrew. Simon's mother-in-law was in bed, sick with a fever. And they told Jesus about her at once. He went to her, took her by the hand, and raised her up. The fever left her, and she served them. That evening, crowds of people came to Simon and Andrew's home. They brought many loved ones who were sick and in need of healing. Jesus healed them of all kinds of diseases. In the morning, well before sunrise, Jesus rose and went to the desert place where he could be alone in prayer. Simon and those with him tracked him down. When they found him, they told him, "Everyone's looking for you." He replied, "Let's head in the other direction to nearby villages so that I can preach there too. That's why I have come." Jesus continued to travel throughout Galilee. Sorry about that. I'm still here. The camera flipped over on me. Sorry about that. To continue on a story, Jesus continued to travel throughout Galilee. He preached and healed the sick, and he healed a man with a skin disease. He told the man not to say anything, but the man was so happy that he told everyone. He told so many people that Jesus couldn't go into a town without crowds following him. Instead, Jesus stayed out in the country. Still, people came to him around from all over. That's the story for today. So, think about this. Jesus' fame arrives quickly in the book of Mark. Having called for his disciples, Jesus immediately begins to bring good news. The crowds are amazed in how the authority that he's teaching and healing. They are in awe of his power to work unclean spirits, as they put it. Jesus is in high demand, and many healings and exorcisms follow. In particular, the healing of Simon's mother-in-law and the exorcism that took place in the whole city's gatherings around the door of Simon's house. As these stories usually are told, they involve an argument between demon and the exorcist in which tries to gain advantage over them. Jesus, however, casts them out without even just a simple command. He tells them to be silent, and they shut up. Wow. He tells them to leave, and they go. Jesus has power and authority that the crowds have not witnessed before. But what does this really mean? This is a way of understanding evil in the ancient times. It was as active work of demons and spirits in the lives of humans. This may seem foreign to us, but in the ancient world, this was believed that the unclean spirits really made mischief in people's lives, causing them all manner of chaos. Further, the power of those spirits was considered to be linked to the power of Satan. So many people, or if you look at the Pharisees, they say, where does this power come from? Well, obviously in the ancient times, they thought these powers actually came from Satan, and that's why they thought that he was evil. And so that's why they made those statements. But in our story today, we have Jesus going around teaching teaching the good news as well as healing people. And that is our story for today. So, how does this relate to our families and us as a group? Think about it. Imagine yourself sitting in a synagogue or sitting in our church and Jesus is preaching. What do you think Jesus is saying to the children in the our story speaks today? Do you think he was actually teaching them all that how the Spirit of God was there healing the sick? Maybe. Or let's take a look at I wonder how Jesus felt after traveling, teaching, and healing people all day. Can you imagine working all day and then you turn around and start teaching and then you're healing people? Man, it just never ends. We got crowds up to all over the place. And so, what do you think Jesus felt by the end of the day? I think he probably felt pretty tired. He certainly wanted to have some time to himself. I certainly would want time for myself. I certainly probably would sit down and say, hey, I'm going to have a drink and chill out and have a few minutes to myself before I take on the rest of the evening. Just think about that man that had those terrible sores. How happy would you be if you were a person with all these sores all over your body and nobody wanted to come near you? How would you feel if Jesus came up to you and healed you and took care of those sores for you and you were clean skinned and people were actually said, what happened? And are more happy to be around you. I think I certainly would be a happy camper if that was the situation. So what do you think? You think you would scream happy hallelujahs when Jesus healed you on that situation and told everybody about it? Well, frankly, I probably have to say that if you were healed and you went to the church and you had, because that was part of the practice, when you have all those illnesses, especially leprosy, that you were actually allowed to be back around people and that type of thing, and you actually went to the church to get them to say that you were clean. So, he had to explain why he had healed, why he was clean, and after all those many years that he had all these sores and everything else. So, what do you think? Well, you've been pretty happy? I'm sure I would have been pretty happy. That is for sure. So, today we really have just a few assignments to do today. We're going to open up our page for the Spotlight magazine. We're going to turn to page 34. I hope you have a pen there. Today we're going to turn to page 34 and we have a crossword puzzle. I'm going to go over the crossword puzzle. Hopefully you have the answers in mind when I ask the question, and go ahead and write down the answer. And we'll go ahead and go over this crossword puzzle together. So we're going to start with the cross puzzle ones. The first one is the cross 1. Jesus invited James and John to do this. Well, actually last week we were looking at Jesus was saying, follow me. So number 1 would be follow. Okay, we'll go ahead and write that in there. The next one is Jesus taught here on the Sabbath. Where was he teaching at when he was doing it? He did it on the Sabbath. That was the synagogue, right? Yes. How do you spell synagogue? That would, get your pens, get ready. It would be Synagogue. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Number 6, across. Levi collected too many of these. So, if you remember last week's lesson, Levi was a tax collector. And so, what do you think he probably collected too many of? And why they were saying that he was a sinner, and so why Jesus should be eating with them. So, the number 6 would be taxes. Taxes is Taxes. All right, across number 8. Jesus was baptized in this river. What river was Jesus baptized in? Do you remember what that was? That was 2 weeks ago. So he was baptized in the river Jordan. 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 You got that pencil going? Yeah, I'm hoping so. So we're looking at number 9 across. People came to Jesus because they wanted to be, that's our story today. So what were those crowds looking for Jesus to do for them? To be healed. Exactly. Right. And healed is Healed. All right. So that was all our across ones. Let's go ahead and take a look at the down words. Number 2, John the Baptist ate these in the wilderness. So what did John eat? He had wild honey. And what else did he eat? It was an insect. I don't know if I'd be eating these, but they were locusts. And locusts are spelled Locusts. All right. Number 3. When Jesus was baptized, this came to rest on him. What did we learn on when we talked about Jesus' baptism? God was very pleased with him, and what came down to him in a form of a dove. And that's Dove. All right, so we're moving on here. Number 4. This is the day Jesus taught in the synagogue. Well, that kind of goes along with number 4 crossed. Jesus taught here on the Sabbath. So, I guess it would be the Sabbath. And the Sabbath is spelled Sabbath. So, number 5 down is Simon and Andrew were fishermen in the sea. What do you think the sea was? The Sea of Galilee. Very good. All right, that is spelled Galilei. And the final one, who lived in the wilderness in the story of Jesus' baptism? Or who the baptizer? It was John. John. So that is our puzzle for today. If you didn't get the answers, you certainly can look back on the last page, the last cover. The answers are there. So that is our puzzle for today. So I hope everyone is doing well in school, and we certainly look forward to having a wonderful week. We are getting towards the end of it, and I hope that we are going to be looking forward to a wonderful week next week. We certainly are looking at great things on the horizon. We have a new president. Hopefully things will be much different. We certainly are looking at schools are getting back in session, which is a wonderful thing for many people who may not necessarily do so well as far as doing that virtual learning. So we're going to be looking at just simply thinking about saying, good news, God loves and cares for you. Just think about that for a few minutes, and that is our prayer for this evening. Again, you guys have a wonderful week. We'll look forward to talking to you later. Bye.